Just a quick note. Even though I'm making this video and I'm talking about my own experiences, I'm not depressed at the moment. Please don't worry, I'm not depressed. I'm fine. Okay, I am perfectly fine. I just need to get it out there because it just came to me over the weekend when I was going through a rough time that somebody needs to talk about it. And people always talk, you always get the psychologists and psychiatrists talking about these things. And those facts are not, we don't want to know about the chemical imbalances. We want to know, we need to know on an everyday basis. You see this person, what can you do without disrupting your own life? How can you make their life better? Just a smile. Just a simple smile, okay? Like I say, costs you nothing. Can cost them everything if you don't. So yes, I'm fine, okay, I'm fine. I have learned to control everything I have, that I do believe I have, but I'm generally a very happy person, okay? I have a friend who has actually said to me before that it baffles his brain. He's my very best friend. It baffles his brain that I am the happiest person in the world. Okay, I always find something to be happy about. I'm that person who doesn't want to miss a moment. Every moment is important. Okay, and it's also a mistake I made when I raised my children. I believe the time was more important than the actual things, but doesn't always work that way. They'll understand it one day. Let's talk about depression. Mental illness is a thing that I have always had my reservations about. I'm a Gen X. Gen Xers are just bred differently. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I think it's a good thing in a lot of ways, but a bad thing in some ways that we never knew about mental issues. Okay, in our days, if you were diagnosed with anything, nobody was diagnosed with anything, but God forbid, if you were the crazy, and nobody would hang out with you. That's very alarming, actually, because depression is. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not qualified to talk about it. It's just my own opinions from my experiences. Depression is possibly the thing that plagues Gen X's the most. First time I'm saying it out loud, I suffer from depression and never diagnosed, but I know it, and I've known it all my life. I am the happiest person you'll ever meet, and anybody who knows me knows that I am always smiling, always laughing, always making everybody feel good and laughing, and I have a solution to every problem. This is a way that you must understand. If you know anybody and you think they suffer from depression, just reach out, okay? Because suffering from depression, you build your walls, okay? And you have your devices to make you happy. And if nothing can make you happy, you make other people happy because that makes you happy in turn. Okay, so you're living their happiness, if that makes any sense, okay? I remember when I was growing up and in South Africa, and there was a war in Angola, so all the guys just older than me, obviously, had to, at my age it was stopped, but those guys had to go straight after they finished school. It was compulsory, 2 years military, so it was about 8 months training, and then the rest of the time they were in battle in Angola. And these guys used to come back and show us, and we were kids, and they used to show us these pictures of the things that happened there. But there was no such thing as PTSD. The word didn't exist. I don't know if it existed in other countries, but in South Africa, that didn't exist. There was no such thing as therapy and nothing like that. There was nothing. So what happened? These guys, their coping mechanism, they drank. They all became, most of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them became alcoholics and wife beaters. Okay, that was how they coped. So when I was a child, if your mother or father had to catch you crying for no reason, or being down, not having a smile on your face, you would literally get slapped and told to go mow the lawn, clean the pool, do the dishes, okay? Pull yourself towards yourself, okay? Stop being a problem child. So this was very real for Gen Xers. There was no such thing as depression or a valid reason to ever be sad for no reason. Because remember, depression is not, you're not sad because of something. There's literally nothing to be sad about. But you're down, you're depressed, you're sad. And I can go, and this is probably signs of bipolar, never been diagnosed, never had it checked out, but I can go from being the happiest person in the world, ready to fly, and in a split second, one thought in my head can have me where I'm ready to delete myself. I realized that there was something when I was about 10. When I was 10, I had my first thoughts of deletion, of deleting myself. Obviously, I didn't. I was a child. So when I was a child and in school, I poured all my energy into sports. Okay. Yeah, so this friend of mine said to me that I am the happiest person he knows because I can be, most of the times, I would say 80% of the time, I'm on top of the world. I'm just on another level of happiness. But when I hit it down, it's like this instantly. I can go from being up there, ready, up in the clouds where I think I can fly, down to where it's just darkness, an endless pit of darkness. And I can't get out, and I struggle. And he's seen it, and he knows to leave it. Another friend of mine, I have very few good friends. I have very few friends, actually. I keep my circle very small. I have very many acquaintances, but very few friends. But a friend that I made in Dubai when I was living there, I have so much respect for this guy, not only because he's a genius on every level, but we became friends there. And now with me, I was working restaurants most of my life. I had restaurants, I worked in restaurants, and people, you see hundreds of people every day, and well, how are you? And my response has just always been, always good, always good. Even today, somebody asked me, how are you? Always good, always good. And people just take that at face value, okay? And he came in the one night, because he used to come sit there and work, and he came in the one night, hey Kat, how are you? And always good, and gave me a hug and whatnot, and he pushed me away, and he looked at me and he said to me, always good? I said, yeah, man, always good. And he's like, you know what? I see you, okay? I'm not one of your customers. I see you. And that meant the world to me, that he saw me. He saw through the mask, okay? Just that little thing, knowing that somebody sees, The first time I actually did try to delete myself, I was 15. And then again when I was 16, and then I had a couple of years where I was fine. No, actually not. Then at 19 again. And then I got married, got divorced, had 2 children, and then I was focused. Then I had something to fight for. Then I had something that gave me life. And because my children gave me life. People always say you gave life to your child. With me it was different. My children gave me life. I just have to take a quick break. Oh boy, this video is going to be very jumbled because my mind is all over the place. I'm usually all over the place. Somebody says don't jump over the bandwagon. Which bandwagon? Oh, that one back there. That's me. That's me. But yes, when I had children, they gave life to me. They gave me a reason and a purpose, and I knew the day my son was born, and obviously I had a few failed pregnancies before then, but the day my son was born, I knew that I would be stronger than I ever imagined. I knew that I would try to be the best that I could be. Okay. Wow, this is hard. But the day my daughter came, it was double dose. Okay, you're going to be strong. And I got divorced when my daughter was 1. I've been raising my kids by myself since my daughter was 1 and my son was not even 3, because they're 18 months apart. Best time of my life, best time of my life. I made every mistake there is. I was probably the worst mother in the world, but my kids knew I loved them. Okay, and but yes, this is depression. Then after that, I hit many depression stages in between that with the struggles, but I got where I needed to be. I got a business, got stable, I was able to give my kids what they deserved. But now, the thing is, yes, I was talking about deletion. The next time I tried to delete myself was about 12 years back. It's been about 12 years. I have contemplated in between, but I'm strong enough now. Once I started working, I kind of got into kickboxing and gym, and I learned to turn depression into aggression, into anger. Okay, and when I'm angry, I stay away from people. I will hit a punching bag or go run or do something. But that's a way. So what you need to understand when you know someone, if they are the happiest person in the room and they're always laughing and they're making everybody laugh, and the person who laughs the most and talks the most is generally the one who goes home and cries themselves to sleep. Okay, this is generally a fact. Okay, I never stop talking. Okay, and I always talk happy things. I never talk depressing things, never, because I can't deal with that. That's why it's so hard for me to talk about this. What I learned to do was to write. I write a lot. I mean, I write because it's an outlet. Okay, and there's nothing really that you can ever pinpoint. This is making me upset. This is making me sad. But you just know your heart is breaking. Your heart is breaking. Okay, there is no way forward. People who suffer from depression do not suffer from depression because of a situation. I'm going through a rough time, so I'm depressed. No. People who suffer from depression generally get through, I know I do, get through tough times. They push forward and they get through it. Okay. People with depression can push 18-hour shifts 7 days a week for many years and not complain about it. Okay. So it's not something, it's not this happened or that happened or I can't face this. They can face anything. It's just a chemical imbalance. Okay. I know through the years, the song I possibly listened to most in my life is Russian Roulette by Rihanna. It was almost my theme song, okay, where I would sit and to do, not to do, to do, not to do. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. When I see someone, and I'm my radar is very good for depressed people, very, because I recognize these things, okay, and I cannot stop myself from reaching out because I know what they're going through, and I don't need to know why they're going through it. Sometimes just having a conversation, just distracting them for a minute, or just letting them know, somebody cares, somebody wants to know, how was your day? How was your day? You're looking good today, just that. Costs you nothing, could cost them everything if you don't. I don't know why I decided to talk about this, but I just did. I actually know why I'm talking about it, because the weekend, it just randomly happens. There's nothing wrong in my life at the moment. Well, I mean, my country is a mess and things are very unsure as to where I'm going. I've chosen a path to go to, actually, and I'm very in two minds as to where to go. So I think that's why, and I was, Friday and Saturday it was rough, okay. And obviously I don't sleep at night. I go to bed at about 4 in the morning and then I'm up by 8. So there's a lot of time to think, and the more you try not to think, the more you think. and it's like you can't find the remote to turn your brain off. And obviously I have no one to reach out to. My kids are big, and my friends are all in other countries, so so I have no one I would reach out to anyway. I wouldn't. I have never called anyone and said I'm struggling now. It doesn't happen. But yes, be gentle to the Gen Zs specifically, because they do have issues. They do have issues. They carry a lot with them. They carry a lot of guilt as well. Remember, now you must remember, a Gen Z who raised children. They didn't have Google. There was no Google. There was no Facebook. There was no Facebook mommy groups. No TikTok. Whatever. There was nothing. Okay. You couldn't, if something was wrong with your baby and you didn't know if you're doing it right, you couldn't whip out your phone and go to Google. There was no Google, not in South Africa. I mean, we were probably the last to get it. But, so it was hard. You had to make decisions, and most of the times you made the wrong decisions, okay? Years later, you get blamed for those decisions, because why did you do that? Because I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. My child was obese. I didn't know. He was a baby. He was hungry. I fed him, We didn't know. So be gentle with Gen Zs, okay? They tried their best. They didn't have the tools that they are now. There weren't even books on raising children, and they were just working. They were just working and raising kids, and that was it. That was their life, and they never complained about it because that was just what it was, okay? So be gentle to Gen Zs. Okay. We're tough. We're very tough. We get through things when it gets too much. The press, when we feel this is now getting too much, I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to harm myself. We do shit. We go save pets. We go save random animals. We go save babies. We do shit. Go plant a tree. Go run on the beach. Go punch a punching bag. So we do that. Most of the times we get angry. We get angry, not at the people, at the situation, at the emotion that we don't understand. And, so I have, let me not get into that. Let me not get into that. But yes, I have done some silly things to get through what I get through. And people judge you often for the things that you do, not understanding that you're doing it to get through this thing in your head. So you get judged on it. Be nice. Be nice to people. Okay, not everybody's going to seek help, because Gen Zs are proud. Very proud. So be nice. But the thing is, I worry about the Gen Zs, because they're growing up in a world of technology, okay, and they all, fortunately, these things get diagnosed now, and there is therapy, and there's treatment, and there's all kinds of things for them. But still, we're pushing them to this, okay, because we're giving them cell phones and iPads, and we're raising them we're raising them like AIs, okay? Our kids are not AIs. But the thing I want to bring across is, if you know someone that you think, even just a little bit, you could be wrong, but you think that they might suffer from depression, don't confront them about it. Okay, don't do that. They're going to get angry. But just reach out. Just now and then, send them a text message. Give them a phone call. Hey, how's it? How are you? Are you doing good? Want to grab some coffee? Just do that. It will cost you nothing. But not getting that call could cost them everything. That's a fact.